Are we back? Are we back? And do we actually have audio now? So, yeah, note to self, please, for the love of God, check where you're actually getting your stream audio from in OBS. Okay. I guess that's what happens when you just don't stream for a month and just, you know, there's always something. There's always something. Anyways, new boats, as I was trying to say. Um, didn't miss much, luckily. I was only just rambling to myself. The new boats. First and foremost, for the Americans, USS Charles F. Adams. The first NATO missile destroyer in game. It carries the RIM-24As, the same missiles as Douglas. Let me actually get Douglas as well. So it's the exact same missiles. So we're already familiar with it, but it carries 42 of them. The missiles, oh, they are actually modeled now in their little hangar. Okay, in the test drive you couldn't see them, but they are all there. I'm curious why some of them have a different, like, seeker head on them, but I'm not going to question that. And when we go to look at the reload, it's a secondary gun. It reloads a fair bit quicker than the Bravi, its closest counterpart, with, 39 to 30 seconds. Bravi in comparison is, let's see, Bravi is 65 to 50. So, 20 seconds-ish faster. And let's just... let's actually go and look at all the ships first, and then we'll take Charles F. Adams for a spin. The second American ship added, but we already knew of this from a dev blog, is the Maryland, which is a premium Colorado class. When it comes to these premiums, to these rank 6s, they're 80 euros, I believe. I would not recommend Maryland. Unless you're already familiar with American battleships. Because the thing about American battleships, they're actually quite tough. Their armor protection is not bad, and you can angle them pretty well. The problem is you can never angle barbettes. And there's ammo in the barbettes. That and a bit of plunging fire can actually net you into the main magazine as well. The other problem is that American battleships have very slow reloads. So they're not the most optimal at their own BR, usually. 7.7 is also kind of a dangerous battle rating. It will put you into striking range of Sovietsky Soyuz, which, yeah, that's something you have to do at your own risk. So, yeah, the thing is, the Colorado is actually a pretty good battleship. The shells do hit very hard. So it's not the worst premium, but I wouldn't buy it unless you already know how to handle American battleships. And that's it, basically. But that you can say that about a lot of top tier or top rank premiums, is don't buy them unless you know what you're doing. And that goes for the ships as well. But moving on to Germany, we get one new destroyer, Z-51. It's nothing too exceptional. There's no special armor, the guns are the same we're already familiar with, the shells probably are the same. Yep, the shells are the same as well, from what I can see. It carries the standard German torpedoes, it carries some mines. There's a bit of an enhanced anti-air battery for German destroyers, but it's nothing you haven't seen before. Z-15 carries a large amount of 37s. It does it at 4.7. 4.7 might be a bit rough for what it is, seeing as it only has 4 turrets. Is it a project ship? No, it was actually made. And I do remember it being reading that it was an actual made ship. Also, it's dirt cheap, 15,000 RP. Who really cares about that much, really? So just, yeah, another German destroyer, nothing too special. Let's look at the internal layout. That's the secondary magazine, but it could chain detonate. Rear mag is well protected by the fuel tanks, but let's actually look at the ammo itself. Yeah, same vulnerability as other German destroyers, really a bit of a... Yeah, it just is a ship. Nothing too special. And that's actually it for German editions. There is the Mackensen, but that's a van ship, so I don't really count that. Yeah. Coastal, they don't get anything new, so Russia does get a new coastal vessel, which I sadly cannot actually test sail. The MPK-33, or also commonly known as a Grisha frigate or corvette or whatever. I think it's a frigate. And the other cool thing about it is it's another missile boat. And this thing, I think I've seen it reload in about 20 seconds, the launcher, so it is a quick reload. They are also missiles we already have, as you might be able to tell. They're also M's, or more specifically, 9M33s. And if you look at the OSA in the ground tech tree, where is it? There it is. 9M33M3, so they are slightly different. Does the British one maybe have the same one? Because I was convinced they were the same missile. But apparently not. There might actually be an earlier version of it. Or some, but it's genuinely the same missile as the OSA. Back to the Grisha. We go there. So yeah, this is a cool little missile launcher. Although currently it does seem a bit bugged. I've seen people fire these things at destroyers and immediately black out a whole compartment with one missile hit, and that's definitely not what should happen. So that's not quite final, I think. Other than that, RBU 6000s, rapid fire 57mm in the rear, torpedo launchers. It's basically a slightly different version in the 1331, to my knowledge. Just, you know, this type of vessel, large frigate. There's not much to say about it, really. It's just a neat little coastal vessel with more AA missiles, which shouldn't be too much of a threat to the larger surface combatants. It is a frigate, and it does get a blue water spawn. That's something I do want to mention. It does get a blue water spawn. It's not that slow, though, so it should be okay. Looks like a fine little boat, but it is, of course, a top-tier boat, so it costs an arm and a leg to research. But oh well. Cool stuff. And that's it for Russia. And then Britain gets, I think, just... they get Nelson, obviously. Which is also just Rodney, but more anti-air. That's something I actually forgot to mention. That's the only real difference between Maryland and Colorado, is just the anti-air, and that's it. I do believe this actually has a slightly different armor layout as well, so let me just quickly look at this. 58, 90... I heard that it had an extended armored deck or something like that. 158. Oh yeah, so here, no armor on Rodney. But if you look at Nelson, there's a more armored decking here. Which, I mean, it does help a little bit with bow tanking, I guess, just a little bit, but nothing too consequential. Yeah, more crew, but more crew doesn't really matter. I know that Gaijin does like to say that, oh, it has more crew, thus implying it's more survivable, but that's just not how it works at all. So, yeah. More anti-air is always cool. Nelson, I'm going to say the same thing as with the Maryland. Don't get it unless you already know what you're getting into. 7-7 is 1 BR below top tier, and you will fight Yamatos, Iowas, and Soyuzes. Although the Yamato is not really that big of a deal anymore. But Soyuz and Iowa, they're gonna run circles around this thing. I do like the Rodney, and I think the Nelson will be a very fun ship as well, especially with the enhanced anti-air battery. The reload is still kind of long, but not that ridiculously long. Yes, I did see it as well. The Iowa did get some magazine changes, but only the magazine change to Iowa is its depletion order got changed. Doesn't really matter much. I'll check it out later though. Oh, and Yamato as well? I'll look at it. I'll look at it later. Yeah, Nelson. I wouldn't fork over €80 or 80 quid or $80 for it. It's just too much. If you get it in on sale like next year in half a year time, maybe. But it's a cool ship. Nothing much to say else, really. It's just, one we already have. It is, yes, these Nelson and Maryland and Sevastopol and Gneis now are 80 euros. Don't. It's just too expensive. Then going on to... Actually, no, I forgot. I almost forgot. There is actually another new Blue Water edition. The HMS Saumarez. I'm probably butchering that name, but oh well. An S-class destroyer. And, another unique gun configuration. It's a pretty cool ship, I think. I do think these Bofors have some unfinished textures, though, in the middle. But it's a cool ship. One thing that is a bit odd, though, you'd think, okay, this is a single mount, ship. It's a 45 ship. Maybe those are anti-air mounts. And then you look at the characteristics of it, if I can actually reset that. 55-degree elevation, not too bad, but it's not great for anti-air duties. And then 6 degrees rotation speed. Ooh, not great. Definitely not great. The rate of fire is okay. It's also not too high, but it's okay. Yeah, this is a cool little boat. We'll do some test drives later. But yeah, it's a rank 1. It's 4,000 RP. You'll rush through that in no time. But it's a nice addition to the 4-3 lineup. Gives it a bit more of a standard destroyer in between Kalp and Brisentin. Very neat. Then, to Japan, we get Tsugaru. Which... Oh, that's what I wanted to do. Let's just look at it. Which I already just love, because it's just a weird and wacky auxiliary vessel. It has mines, a load and load of mines. Although, for some reason, they're not visible in port. There you go. So yeah, it's just a mine layer with mines in here. That's a cool little ship. It does carry the anti-air twin mount 5-inch guns, so they're not the best anti-surface guns. It is, however, 4.0, so who really cares? Let's go to realistic. It's not the fastest. It is quite slow, which is usually the case for mine layers, but yeah, that's going to hurt. It does get a destroyer spawn point, unlike Abdil, which gets a cruiser spawn point. This is actually properly a destroyer. So it will spawn a bit closer, but yeah, that slow speed is not going to help. Armor-wise, as the text usefully says, there is no armor. The hull is, standard thicknesses. What's really interesting, though, is that you have these really long mine rails, and just that's the amount of mines you have, and you have this mine, processing facility or arming facility or something like that, which is fully modeled for some reason. Or at least you can see it in the X-ray. Ammo racks are kind of below the waterline, but not really. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, though, at 4.0. Fuel tanks are not really protecting your innards too much, so it's cool. I love auxiliary ships like this. I just love them. They're just silly little things. And at 4.0, rank 2, it's dirt cheap. You'll get it easily. But yeah, cool boat. On to Italy. We'll get on to another... There's actually another Japanese ship in the files, but we'll get to that later. Italy, where they get a new coastal vessel, the MC-492. Which, interestingly enough, is a single L-70 Bofors and 4 torpedoes. The torpedoes are not that bad, decent speed, somewhat decent range. And the filler is not too bad, it's 3.3. Very nice. From my experience with the Schütze, the German L-70 Bofors boat at 3.0, this is really fun. This is a really fun boat, especially as soon as you get the TF round, the VT rounds rather. Really, really, really fun boat. So I'm looking forward to the Italian boat. That's what I want to click. The Italian boat here at rank 4. It is, however, 120,000 RP, so it is expensive as usual. But this should be a very, very fun boat. Because the one thing I did find lacking in Schütze is the lack of torpedoes. And it's actually not that slow either. So it could be a decent torpedo boat. Other than its size, of course, it is quite big. Another thing that's quite nice is that these waist torpedoes do actually have a little bit of traverse on them. So that's neat. So yeah, cool little coastal boat. Is it a steel hull? I didn't actually notice. Oh, it is. That's probably still... Yeah, it's steel hull. It'll help a bit compared to wooden hulls. Yeah, I think that's going to be a cool boat. Actually, let me see how fast it'll go. So it goes 62 stock. 64. 67. Yeah, it'll push well into 72 kph. That's going to be a pretty good boat. I think, at least. And that's it for Italy, I believe. They don't have any new blue water editions. Just the boat. Then we go to France, which does have a few more editions. First and foremost, the Gloire, which we did get a dev blog about. I'm not too sure what's too interesting about it. Actually, let me look at the fire rate. So 6.9 rounds per minute to 9 rounds per minute. That's pretty neat. There is no new coastal for Germany. Not that I know of, at least. Okay, 6.9 to 9. And what's it like on the Galissonnaire? Is 7.1 to 7.5. And on Emile Bertin, it is, yeah, 5.8 to 7.5. Galician is actually crew, that's why it was such a 7.1. So yeah, this does have a higher rate of fire compared to the other two ships of the type. Amaraks are a bit vulnerable. Armor-wise, we do actually have a decent cruiser belt. A 100mm belt is not bad for a cruiser protecting the engines. Of course, the crew compartment is probably going to be above the armor belt. Let's see. Not too bad. The nose is completely empty. That's good. So just behind the turrets a bit, and then yeah, there's some crew compartments above. But then a lot of it is just the engines. So this is pretty good. It is indeed, as somebody already mentioned, a late fit, so it does have a lot of anti-air on it. Speed is a bit slow stock, but let's see, 51 to 52.5 to 55 to like 59, but I think isn't that the same as the Galissonnaire? No, it isn't. Ooh, is it even slower than Galissonnaire? That's going to be a bit rough. But the armor looks decent. What's the armor like on Galissonnaire? Yeah, it's similar armor. So it's probably still not going to be enough to really tank anything. But it looks promising. The higher rate of fire will definitely help. Yeah, cool boat. Another French cruiser. Can't really complain about it. And then we go on to French Coastal. That has a few other additions as well. First and foremost, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to try it. Esne? Who knows? But a premium Marne class, and that's spicy. The camo is also quite snazzy. But the Marne is a really, really, really good performing coastal vessel. It gets a coastal spawn, but it's a corvette, so it has the blue water damage model, making it really tanky. The 100mm guns are really hard hitting. And this one now has 2 3-pounders, but I wouldn't really rely on them. Like, what is even the traverse? Yeah, vertical guidance is... Okay, that's for horizontal. Is okay, it can 90 degree, but not forward. This one can go forward, yeah. Don't really take any notice of those 3-pounders. And you do actually lose the 76s because of it. Huh. Because compared to the normal Marne, it has two 65s on the wings as well, giving you a nice 4-gun broadside. And the Esne, or however you pronounce it, only has a 3-gun broadside with maybe a 3-pounder in there. I mean, yeah, if this is a Warbond vehicle, I would get it. I would also actually unironically recommend it for just grinding French Coast 3. Of course, it is only a rank 3, it's not a rank 4, but it's quite cheap, and it's a really good coastal. It really is. Marne, I've enjoyed it a lot. You can probably find some of one of my streams when I have You could probably find one of my streams when I played it. Although it was 3.0 when I last played it, but it's really good. It's a really good boat. And really cheap. So I would actually recommend this if you want to grind French coastal. And speaking of French coastal, we do have another boat. L'Intrépide, which has a single Bofors on the rear and a really funky torpedo tube. A really funky torpedo tube. And we'll get to that in just a moment. Let me just see if I miss anything in the chat. Jorg, about the premium Nelson. I mean, other than anti-air, no. It's just going to be the same as the Rodney. I keep forgetting Rodney's name. Let me show you the 3-pounder shells, but it's not really much to look at, I think. Just an HE shell. You know what, let's test drive it. Let's test drive the item, because I'm now at the end of the old editions, so let's test drive some stuff. Let's give this a whirl.
Prepare the ship for battle.
And that reminds me, new keybind. You can now change between, you know, having secondaries and primaries, and not.
So
that's very great. I don't know why it keeps firing on its own. Yeah, let's see what this is like. And then actually have a line of sight to that.
Engines, flank speed.
Let's see if we can get some firing arcs.
Engines, all stop.
That's not bad, I guess, against small boats.
Shells on target.
And the higher rate of fire can be a bit useful.
Helmet ships, aye.
So yeah, this is actually a premium ship I would recommend you get if you're thinking of getting French vehicles. Then the Intrépide, because that has a really funky torpedo launcher I just have to show people.
All hands
Look at it.
to battle
So
station.
it's a torpedo
Prepare
launcher.
torpedo tubes.
It just goes.
Fighter, ahead.
It has a pretty decent forward firing angle in that direction, although it's actually still a lot of broadside. But it's not the slowest boat run, I believe. And these are the spare torpedoes.
Harder starboard.
And then you have a
Helm.
rearward arc still
Helmet ships, aye.
of incredibly bad in the other direction, because the torpedo tube is stopped by the flag. So it's a really weird torpedo firing angle. And it just...
Torpedo away.
yeah, it just does its thing. It's such a strange torpedo arrangement. Torpedoes are also not the greatest. They're slow. The range is pretty long, but that doesn't really help with slow torpedoes. These are probably anti-submarine torpedoes, let's be real. Yeah, it's a funky little boat. But we can do that. Yeah. Yeah. But it's fine as it is. The thing, though, is I think this boat is actually quite low BR. Let's see. It's 2.7, which is a pretty decent Beaufort boat battle rating, 2.7. And that torpedo launcher is just funky. You're probably not going to have to use it a lot, but if you do, if there's maybe a destroyer coming in from that side of your ship, might work. But yeah, that's a cool boat. Other test sails, let's go with the new MC492.
Action station.
You can see the waist torpedoes have a little bit of traverse. Yes, a little bit. But a little bit can be nice to just, you know,
Attacker.
get your ship on target.
3,000 meters. Action station. Enemy spotted.
They also did change the gun sounds a little bit. That's something to get used to.
Airborne target destroyed.
But yeah, it's an L70 Bofors. And yeah, it's just good. I think this is going to be a very fun little coastal vessel for the Italian tree. Because it's fast, has a good gun, nice amount of torpedoes, 3.3. Very nice.
Steer starboard.
Yeah. It's not the lowest BRL-70. Again, I compare it to the German Schütze, which is at 3.0 with an L-70. And yeah, now this Italian has a 3.3 with an L-70. Very cool stuff. Moving back again to Japan. Their only new addition is Tsugaru. So let's just test sail that as well.
All hands to battle stations. Engines, flank speed.
And yeah, I seem to have missed that question, but yeah, Surcouf did indeed have a rotating torpedo tube launcher as well. Those guns off.
Action station.
And yeah,
Enemy
we've got just
spotted.
boatloads of mines. And with the new automatic mine
Mines.
dispensing you can have, it'll just, yeah, plays down a trail of mines behind you.
Hard starboard. Aye.
I like this boat. It's just weird, wacky. I like these auxiliary vessels. They're just, you know, something different. But other than that, there's not much to show, really. It has a decent amount of AA for 4.0. The guns, everybody should know by this point for Japan. They're semi-high rate of fire, low velocity anti-air guns.
Prepare
Which at
mines.
4.0, the high explosive shells on these guns will actually do plenty of work. Slow top speed, though, will be something to work around. But yeah, that's Tsugaru. Then moving to Great Britain. I'm not going to test sail Nelson. Well, actually, no, let's just test sail Nelson anyways. It has the Dhaka. Let's just see what the anti-air is like.
All hands to battle stations.
Let's put it on anti-air duty. I see this one also has just enough tracers to actually despawn them.
Airborne target destroyed.
Yeah, I do think this is a very cool boat. Just don't think that, you know, $80, euros, whatever, is worth it.
Enemy vessel sunk.
Interesting, the anti-air guns, the dual-purpose anti-air guns are also now part of the secondary battery, which is not the case for Rodney, I believe. That's a bit annoying. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand why it doesn't carry that many mines in game, though, because that's just to be stupid. You could literally just hold down the drop mine button and from spawn and sail around the entire game, just dropping mines behind you, and probably still not run out of mines. Unless you're playing something like EC. Let me actually just quickly look at the Rodney. Because I don't think the... Yeah, no, the dual-purpose anti-air guns, which it also has, just not in shielded mounts, are not part of the secondary battery for Rodney.
Fighter.
Huh.
Ahead. 2,000 meters.
That's something to keep in mind.
Action station.
And yeah, the floatplane. But yeah, I think Nelson is pretty cool though for the premium ship. A bit of the choices between Maryland and Nelson, I would go with Nelson, but I wouldn't get either for that current price. Anyways, on to Saumarez. Let's equip the torpedoes as well.
Action station.
And as you can see, slow turret reverse. And that really is quite awkward. Sorry, the guns.
Airborne
Oh,
target
never mind.
destroyed.
And what is quite neat, the Bofors are actually part of the secondary battery, and you can control them together with the main guns.
2,000 meters.
So that's neat, I
Action
guess.
stations. Enemy spotted.
Although probably not that necessary. By the way, that keybind is this... Where is it? This one. So you can now just switch between whether or not you control your secondaries together with your primaries on the fly. Which is really nice. Rate of fire is not that special. It's a bit slow, actually. But yeah, it's a cool low-tier destroyer. Yeah, the turrets are interesting looking, but that third traverse is not great. But nonetheless, cool boat. We'll never complain about seeing more interesting destroyers. Then we go to Russia, but sadly I cannot test sail that boat. The MPK-33, I just cannot test sail it. I wish I could, but I can't. Germany doesn't have... that's S-51, that's actually just S-51.
Prepare the ship for battle.
So yeah, it does have pretty good anti-air coverage. Let's see, no secondaries to control together with the main guns. Let's see what the speed is like. I mean, yeah, there's nothing much to say about the ship, really. It's just another neat little German destroyer. I do get the sneaking suspicion, as some others have pointed out to me, that this thing will not stay at 4.7. 4.7 seems like a very high BR for it. And I don't really see how that's possible. Especially since the other 4.7s are either cruisers, 6-inch armed destroyers, or 5-gun destroyers. I don't see why a 4-gun destroyer is 4.7. Because the other, like, even this is a 5-gun destroyer, and it is at 4.3. So why is this at 4.7? I don't know. But okay. Then we go to America. Then we have Maryland. Let's just quickly test sail Maryland.
Action stations. Man your posts.
And as you can see, enough anti-air to cover the ship. I saw some like time-fused action going on there, and I don't know what gun that was. Ah, it's a premium, of course, so it gets VT stock. Never mind. Another little quirk about Maryland is because there's now a Bofors gun tub in front of the main gun, you can't fire straight ahead. Not that you'd really want to be bowing anyways, but yeah, that's just a little quirk. There's like a search radar.
Engines, flank speed.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing much to say about this, really. Just another Colorado class. Slow, lumbering, well-armored, decent guns. Slow reload. But then we get onto one of the main prizes for us naval fans, is the Charles F. Adams, which is a really cool boat. Yeah, internally there's nothing much to speak of. There's no armor, except from the turrets. But now, test sail.
Prepare the ship for battle.
One thing I have noticed is that this ship has no secondary armament other than the missiles. So there's no like 20mm machine guns, there's no Bofors anywhere, no 76s. Just 5-inch guns and missiles. Which I'm probably not going to hit anymore at this point.
Anti-submarine
It's going to
weapons.
be...
Launch.
Yeah, that's very optimistic.
Helm. Midships.
Another thing that you might have noticed is they actually changed the smoke effects on the missiles a bit. The smoke trail will be a little bit more random. Let's see if we can get a good hit.
Aye, steer starboard.
Launch SAM.
Missile away.
There we go. And the missile trail, you see, it has a bit more randomness to it.
Airborne target.
And has a reload animation as well, which is very neat. And there we go, really. It is a really cool ship.
All stop.
I'm going to like getting it, that's for sure, and like playing it. The Tartars aren't really as potent as the V600s. They're not as fast. They don't carry this... Well, I'm actually not too sure about the payload,
7,000 meters.
but they're just not as fast.
Launch.
So at long range, you don't really have much of an option. Yes, I did see that picture as well, about the ASRock launcher having been modeled. But I do want to stress, when the Chikugo came out, its ASRock launcher was also modeled. When the hood was on the dev server, it had its UP rocket launchers modeled. Just because it's modeled in the dev doesn't mean it'll actually come. I know. I think I would like to see ASRocks at some point as well. They're cool. But don't count on it.
Battleship.
Yeah, cool boat. That's actually going to overshoot, isn't it?
11,000 meters.
Yep.
Launch SAM.
Missile
I don't really
away.
know what to say about it, really. Let's see. Yeah, Termax, you just asked what that pod is. That's the ASRock launcher. This is an anti-submarine weapon system. What it basically is, it's a torpedo on top of a missile. So that it'll launch a missile at your target location. Then a torpedo will separate from the missile with a parachute, drop into the water, and then it's an active guided, torpedo. Basically a long-range anti-submarine weapon. Although not that long range. But yeah, cool stuff. Other than that, there is a ship in the files. Let me see if I can get the picture up. If I remember how to do it. Let's see. Yeah. Just real quickly move over to that. So in the files, there is a World War I Congo. This, of course, being the last of the 4 Congos. Sadly, that doesn't mean that it's Hiei, and Hiei is the precursor. The World War II fit of Hiei has the precursor Yamato superstructure, but since we'll be getting it in a World War I fit, apparently, it won't have that superstructure. Bit sad, but oh well. Other than that, I didn't actually see anything in the files. I haven't seen too much speculation. Actually, no, there is a big thing about speculation. During the Russian dev stream, I think the guys BVD mentioned that there might be more news in terms of playable submarines before the next major update. So not this update. We won't get any submarine news before this one goes live. But before the November update, there might be more news about playable submarines. What that news will be, who knows? But that's what he said. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to show you in terms of naval. There's no real damage model changes. There is actually a bit of, apparently, some fiddling around with kinetic energy damage But I don't really know what that's about. We'll have to see. But other than that, there's no like sweeping mechanics changes. There's a bunch of minor armor refinements and like small little changes. I think let's actually look at Iowa because somebody mentioned the shell reduction thing got changed. So let's test sail Iowa. Let's take reduced load and see what happens.
Prepare the ship for
So
battle.
let's see, where are the shells? Okay, that's quite empty. I think the entire upper magazine is empty.
Spotted on radar.
Don't see any shells in the barbette either.
Ahead.
Let's take some more shells.
2,000 meters.
So test sail, we'll take some more. Let's take, you know, roughly half.
All hands to battle station.
I'm not seeing any shells in the bar. Okay, no, there is shells in the barbette for the B turret with half shell load. But the upper magazine seems largely empty.
Radar. Fighter.
The rear turret has some
Ahead. 2,000
more powder bags there.
Action stations. Enemy spotted.
And I think there's some in here as well. I can't quite tell. But yeah, there's something going on there with the reduced ammo load in Iowa. Might make it a bit more revivable. Oh, really? Let's check that. Also, somebody was saying something about Yamato, I think, with the ammo. So let's go to test sail with Yamato, half shells. Let's see if there's some new shell indicator.
All hands to battle stations.
Switch off the guns, but I don't really want all that noise. Half ammo is still not really enough from Yamato.
torpedo bomber. Ahead.
Let's see if there's a new
2,000 meters.
shell icon, shall we?
Action stations. Enemy spotted.
Although I'd probably just
Target
overplan.
identified.
We'll see.
Battleship.
Bearing 260. 11,000 meters.
I don't have it crewed, so my reload is going to take ages, but that's fine.
Shells
It's
on target.
penetrating hit. Is it different? I don't think it's any different.
Shot.
Let's see if we can maybe try a bit lower still. I'll look at the Nelson shells in a moment. Oh, hello. You are right. There is a Citadel hit icon. Why? That's... Why is that necessary? I'm
Direct
just
hit.
gonna screenshot that real quick. There we go. Why is there a Citadel hit icon? Why does that matter? You already know that you're doing damage by this.
Target
Strange. Strange, strange. Very strange. Is there a detonation icon? No, there isn't, because I've already detonated some things in test flights. Why is that an icon? That's strange, because yeah, it's not an icon we need, because we can see exactly what we've done to the enemy right here. I mean, What does it tell you? What does it tell you? See, what I'm thinking is, because the experienced naval players will know what the Citadel is, will know where the armor of a ship is. If you're new, let's say if you're really inexperienced, let me actually check this if the destroyer does it or just battleships. But if you're inexperienced, knowing that you've hit and penned the Citadel can be useful, because then you'll know you can actually pen the main armor. But I don't see the point when you already have icons telling you you've bounced, ricocheted, well not, you've bounced, penned, overpenned, or non-penned. Like, you already have icons saying what your shells did, you already see a detailed damage cam. Why do you need another detail saying you've hit the Citadel? So let's see if you can do the same to Destroyer, and then it you see, a Destroyer doesn't have it, so it is a battleship thing at least.
Identified.
Let's try a Cruiser next. Because a Destroyer doesn't really have a Citadel, but a Cruiser does. Especially the larger ones.
Target identified. Light cruiser.
It's actually... Why would they add a Citadel icon?
9,000 meters.
Because the thing is, unlike World of Warships, where a Citadel just gives you X amount of damage because you've hit quote-unquote vital areas, you can see what you're hitting. You know that... How to say it? It doesn't matter that you've hit the Citadel, it matters what you're hitting in the Citadel in this game. Like, let's say I go look at... I don't go look at a battleship, because apparently it's already gone. But if I hit the same place in the Citadel twice, it doesn't matter.
Enemy hit.
This one also didn't give me Citadel hit, so it is just a battleship thing. That's wild, okay. That is strange. To me that's strange, because it's information I'm like I don't see the point of. Let's actually look at the Nelsons for a quick moment for the shells. AP, so 707 max, muzzle velocity 797. 707. Really? 707, 797? Okay, that's easy to remember. And this will be 788. And yeah, it's slightly better. But the thing is, Rodney has special guns. Rodney has two different guns. It has the 45 Mark 1. But also, where is it? Here. It has a different gun. And the problem with mixed gun ships is you never know which gun the shell is actually showing you the pen for. Like, you have the same problem with Setsu. If you go look at Setsu, like this shell pen only counts for the big guns, for the long guns. Setsu has two different guns, right? The 50 and the 45s. So when you look at the modification shell pen, this shell pen only matters for the 50s. Because the 45s are actually the same guns as Ikoma. So let's actually quickly compare it. So this gun is 593, 915. Whilst on Ikoma, you have 510, 825. So that might be why Nelson and the Rodney doesn't have the same pen count. But it is really strange that the Rodney's pen is actually only for the two special guns and not for all the other guns on it. And where's Rodney? Come on. Let me just put it in here again. It was really annoying that you don't actually have like muzzle velocity stats on the guns themselves. Oh, does Nelson... Actually, I didn't check if Nelson has those guns as well. And Nelson only has those guns. So Nelson only has the mod 2s, right? Mod 2, mod 2. Mod 2, mod 2, mod 2. Whilst Rodney only has 2 mod 2 guns, with the rest being the box standard Mark 1s. So I'm thinking that's where the ammo pan difference is and the velocity difference is. It does matter though, it does matter. Again, I'm not that knowledgeable on the specifics, but I do recall hearing that these guns have different muzzle velocities. Again, I don't know the specifics. Somebody much smarter and somebody who has better access to resources will tell you the difference, but I think it might be that. And yeah, because Nelson only has the mod 2s, it gets better gun performance. That makes sense to me. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to look into that a bit more carefully before the game actually goes live. And can we actually know what the? But yeah, interesting. So Nelson is actually slightly better than Rodney in terms of main guns as well, which is interesting. It's not helping my trying to not buy the ship, to be honest, because it is just overpriced, but it has a really good profile picture. Apparently, it is slightly better than Rodney, and I shouldn't be tempted. I shouldn't be tempted like this. So, anyways, anything else for naval that I can think of? No, well, yeah, it should, but the problem is that for naval, reload times are genuinely a balancing factor. They can just play around with them as much as they want. Well, the things I can kind of check Yamato's. What is it you want to check about Yamato's mags? Just their size? Because that we can see in custom battles, in a test drive rather. Let's actually put Yamato in here. Test sail it and like reduce it even further.
Action stations, man your
Yeah, but the thing is, wasn't that auxiliary ammo explosion thing already resolved or something like that?
WT bridge.
Yes, they didn't change. They did indeed change the Japanese flag in the faction selector, and it's not really a big deal. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know why Roma is like that, but it is what it is. I'll check that out. I don't actually know if any of my regulars are online or are watching. Future updates? I don't really know that much about potential coastals. But I always don't mind seeing more of them. I'll take another look at the Russian boat, East Starling, but I sadly cannot test sail it. But I'll take a look at it. Here it is. Well, the thing is, I need to go into a custom battle, and somebody needs to try and shoot specifically the 155mm magazine in my Yamato. But I think I'll just test that off stream. It'll be easier to do. And I'll just post a little maybe clip or video about it, or maybe talk about it next week. Who knows? But yeah, this is a cool little ship. Armor none. Missile magazine right here. Engine space. The missiles are this one. I don't actually know if they're the same stats. I don't actually know. Let me take a quick screenshot of this, maybe. maybe actually just do that, and I'll be able to tell you if it's the same or not. One moment, as I go to investigate. And let's go look at the ground also. Actually, let's go to the Russian one. There it is. Let's look at the stats. So, caliber is the same, projectile mass is the same, speed is the same, penetration is the same, TNT equivalent is the same, overload is the same, sack loss, range is the same, guidance time is the same. They are... Oh, actually, hold on, they're not identical. One moment. So, explosive type is the same, filler is the same, fuse delay is the same, sensitivity is the same, arming distance is the same, trigger radius is the same, but their penetration isn't. Ah, because the ranging is different. Never mind, never mind. Yeah, that's the same. They are the exact same missile. I was just a little bit confused by the penetration numbers, but yeah, on the ground, the penetration table starts at 10 meters, whilst for naval it starts at 1,000. So I was just looking in the wrong place. So yeah, the same missile as the ground also. This thing also has quite a neat little reload animation, which it's a shame I can't show you, but it'll fold down, I think rotate as well, go all the way down into the magazine, doors close, doors open immediately again, and then just pops up with 2 new missiles. It's a cool reload animation on this. Yeah, cool boat. What else was there? Is Mackinson worth getting? Let's actually look at Mackinson, shall we? Armor-wise, standard battlecruiser affairs for Germany. X-ray ammo is high. And just get torpedoes. The guns have a decent rate of fire. They're 350 millimeters, so 350 millimeters, so almost 14 inch. I think it's pretty okay. Front bulkhead is decent. 7.0 I think is a bit rough. I think 7.0 is a bit rough. I wouldn't be shocked if this went down to 6.7, although it does have a high rate of fire. I think it'd fit better at 6.7 though. Because although Germany does have quite a rich 6.7 lineup already. Yeah, maybe just... Who knows? But I think it'll be decent. Not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to get it myself, though. I'm quite busy this month. Event ships like this usually don't make very much, especially early on. Don't expect it to make any more than a 20 at best. Because the thing is, the naval players who really want it will just get it themselves. Because naval events are usually not that hard. Obviously, if you do have time constraints, you might just not have the time to get it. But there's genuinely not that much interest in naval vessels, especially not the first few weeks. If you want to make big money from naval ships, you have to wait 2 or 3 years before they get really expensive. So yeah. Yeah, but Baden is like... Wait, really? Baden is not that old, is it? Is it 90 already? Because that would kind of shock me. Let's see. When did we get Baden? I think it was early in the year, wasn't it? I know Baden is actually kind of old already, isn't it? Is it? Where is it? I'm just completely looking over it. Where on earth is the Baden event? And there it is. I mean, yeah, Baden is already a year old. Like Baden is from March 24. So that's you know, a year and a half old. Mississippi is also quite old by now. Almost 2 years. So yeah, it's you just have to wait a year or so before they really get pricey. I don't even know if I'm actually going to get Baden. I've been getting really slow progress towards my stars. Yeah. Anyways, is there anything else I should look at on the dev server that some people want to look at? I'm probably not going to be able to test drive or fly any of the top tier stuff though, but if there's anything else anybody wants me to look at, now's your chance. Because then otherwise I think I'll end the stream for tonight. And we'll be back next week. You know what I can do whilst I'm... So why does Yamato blow up? Huge chunking magazines, and you cannot angle. You just cannot... That's why it blows up. Because you cannot angle your citadel. So it just blows up. If I go in Tesla, I'll take... I think that's the literal minimum I can take. 10%.
Secure the ship for sea.
You will always have shells in the barbettes. And you can get rid of the top layer of the powder magazine, but it's not enough. Because if somebody goes to your cheek like this, it's just nothing but magazine.
Torpedo bomber.
90 shells just blows it up, yeah.
2,000 meters.
Although, there is...
Action station.
You know what actually
Enemy
blows up?
spotted.
It's the anti-air anti-air shells. The thing with Yamato is that when it got released, all magazines would instant kill it. The 155 magazine blowing up, instant kill it. The 25mm magazine below the main mag will kill it. And I'm not sure if that's fixed. That's something we do indeed have to test. But it's... You know how you can tell when it's your 25s or your 155s that's killing you? It's when you blow up, but there's no, like, big detonation graphic. That's when you know that it wasn't your main magazine killing you, but your 25mm or your 155mm. That is not a bug, Sid Tasker. That is not a bug. I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a really, really annoying secret about Gaijin's way of weapon grouping. When you look at ships like Fuso, Fuso was the first example of this, and so when Fuso was released, the 125s, the 25s, 127, sorry, the 127s, the 25mm guns, and the 13.2mm guns were all tertiary weapons, all the anti-air weapons, right? The problem was that if you had 3 different weapon calibers in one weapon group, one of the 3 weapons didn't have any ammo. For some reason, the spaghetti code strikes again, and if there are 3 or more weapons in one weapon group, one of the 3 weapons will just have no ammo. And that's the reason why, for the Fuso, and only the Fuso, it gets its 127s paired with the 152s. Because otherwise it just doesn't work. And I'm probably thinking it's going to be the same for Nelson, because otherwise you would have 4.7-inch, 40mm, and 20mm. 3 weapons in one weapon group, and it just doesn't work. That's really annoying about ships that have 2 like medium caliber secondary weapons, because it's just how spaghetti code works. Either ideally you would have the long range anti-air guns be separate and be together with the anti-air guns, but it just doesn't work. If there's 3 weapons in one weapon group, it doesn't work, and it's really annoying. Because let me look at the other Japanese ships. Most of them just don't have... Yeah, these don't have 13s. No 13s. No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And Yamato does. Does. Wait, does it work for Yamato then? Hold on. Hold on. Is there more Gaijin shenanigans going on?
Secure the ship for sea.
There's some more Gaijin shenanigans going on. Because the Yamato does have its 127s grouped together with the 13s and 25s. Yeah, but the thing is, Rodney... Right? Rodney does indeed have its 4.7 inches, but it also has multiple calibers. What the fuck? Why? What? Because I remember clearly, distinctly, when Fuso was added, it needed its 127s to be paired with the 152s because there was a bug with how ammo was like distributed. If there were more than 2 weapon calibers in one weapon group. But apparently not for Rodney and Yamato. Okay, that might be a bug report that needs to happen in the future. If somebody has already made it, I'm definitely going to have a look at it and upvote it where necessary. Strange stuff. But yeah. I think that's going to be it. I'm very excited for this update, even if it's a small one. There's some cool boats in it. Oh. That does actually remind me. I almost forgot. 2 maps got enshittified again. Look what they did. Look what they did to my boy. Look what they did. Some more islands have been nuked off of some naval maps. So for Northport, it's just like this large ice sheet you had up here, just gone. I'm curious to see how this actually influences gameplay, because it's basically these 2 islands were a thing, but it's just an island here and an island here that got removed. I think. I'll take screenshots and compare again between live and dev, which this time they actually announced the map changes, so I can do that. I'm curious to see how this actually changes gameplay. Because I think it'll make it interesting. At least the B point is largely the same, A point is largely the same, but the C point will be more, you'll have different approaches. You can no longer just reliably spam torpedoes down here and get a kill, because it's the only way somebody could go. You can now actually go up this island and actually go around stuff, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that change works. The other big one is a map that seemingly can never just not touch. Look at how they massacred my boy. So this... I think they made islands smaller. I think this one used to extend much further. This one used to extend a bit further as well. The approach into B has become much wider. And cover around A is a bit lesser as well. From what I could see on first glances yesterday. So maybe it makes it better, maybe it makes it worse. It's not a change I really think is bad. It's just different. It'll open up the approach to B more, which might be a good thing. I think even this approach to B is a bit wider as well. We'll see. We'll see. They're not the worst map changes, but it's always a bit touchy whenever they change the maps. Other than that, I think I genuinely have nothing else to look at for naval. I think I've looked at everything. I don't know of any other things hidden in code, new data mines or anything like that. If I do stumble upon new things, if new ships do get added in the dev server, I will. Free to play Skype. Tomorrow I have the day off. I've got nothing planned for tomorrow. I'm going to be recording map changes. That is my go-to. My plan at least. But yeah, that's it. So my final thoughts are it's going to be a pretty nice naval update. I'm looking forward to getting some of the new ships. They're all looking pretty good, pretty goofy, pretty fun. So yeah. And more than that, I am incredibly excited to see what's going to happen with the November update and if we do actually see some submarine news. But that's for down the line. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll be back to some more regular streaming again somewhere either this month or next month. We'll see. And yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you around somewhere soon. And that's it, really. Goodbye.